morning. Here's another little episode of me rambling while I drive on my way to work. Yesterday, I mentioned that I had a live yesterday, and I mentioned passing through all the evaluations for Engoo. And again, that was probably the easiest evaluation process and hiring process that I think I've experienced so far. And I went back and watched my live, and I didn't realize how awkward I looked, looking everywhere, like all over the. I didn't, you see these things when you see videos of yourself playing back. That's something I've noticed since I started filming myself and watching back the playbacks. Is I have some funny quirks, like grabbing my chin, or making these weird little faces like that, or I'll do this a lot. I grab my head, I top my head. And yesterday during that live, when I watched the playback, my face was going like all over. I was looking everywhere except for actually at the camera. It was really weird. I remember when I first applied, and some of these are getting jumbled up. This one, I remember there was a like a grammar test. No, it's a different one. I do remember there being a video where I would answer questions, and they wanted to just get a sample of my voice, my dialect, I'm assuming. And let me tell you, I like this program. I wish, VIPKid, for the older ones, I can see doing this more, not the level 1s and 2s, but the older ones. A lot of the learning is in their hand. I think the students would like that more if we said, how would you like to proceed with class today? I feel like the older students would like that more. Younger students, they would just say, okay, let's play toys. But and the older students, who knows what they would tell you? Because, you've taught teenagers before, and they say, oh, I don't know. You get a lot of I don't knows from teenagers. That's their go-to answer for almost everything. But, and like I said, it reminded me of the Montessori model, where the student is self-directed. The student is self-directed. The student's not self-directed. Their learning is self-directed. And so, in each part, throughout the course, the mock class I did, it was always, prodding them to make decisions on how we progress. Making sure if they had any questions, if I wanted to clarify anything, all the way down to who would want to introduce the next person first, who would introduce themselves first. I'd ask them, would you like to do introductions? And of course they would say yes. I can imagine there are some no's. I'm sure there's some people who don't want to introduce themselves. And then I'd ask, would you like to introduce yourself first, or would you like for me to introduce myself first? And the person there said she'd like for me to go first. And I can see that. If you're learning a language, you want to see, you want to hear me as to what information I gave and how I gave it. And it was really relaxed like that. I felt that I liked it. I liked it a lot. I wish the pay was higher. The pay is kind of. I understand that none of these companies, maybe a few of them, but VIPKid paid well. Engoo, it'll be $5 a class. I think there's bonuses for, like, if you do so many classes in a certain pay period, or there's a cutoff date. I have to read up on that. I read their contract yesterday before I signed it. And this is when I was going through the training materials before the Q&A session and the interview and the mock class. I thought, I don't know where I got this information in my head, but sometimes I don't know where I get information half the time. But I thought it was a Japanese company that was similar to VIPKid, and the students were Japanese children. Where I got that information, I have no idea. But I was looking at other YouTube people yesterday, YouTubers, and they were talking about their students, and it seems like it's primarily adults with some children like that. And I think the adults, and I could be wrong, are all over the world. And so during those two training videos, one training video was I can't speak English. One was if the student chose to do conversation free talk, and the mock student was from Manila, Philippines. And then there was another video. It was a training video if the student chooses to do the live news option. And there's like news articles, and they can click on whichever one they want. It comes with some vocabulary at the beginning, and then they can read through, or you can read through, or whatever the student wants. Listen to you read, and they repeat. And so that one, the student was from, I couldn't understand. It was either Osaka, I think it was Osaka, yeah. And so, so they're from different countries. And I think that's interesting. I think that'll be very interesting. Meeting, if that's true, meeting different adults from around the world. And with adults, they're more motivated to be there and fully participate. It's less likely to, I couldn't imagine an adult paying for this and then logging on and then they're playing games on the phone. So, and that's one of my pet peeves is, talking to a student and they're looking at another screen or on the phone, and either they stop or they deny it, or no, yeah, and then they just parrot everything. And so I think this will be refreshing to have adults. Speaking of adults, I saw someone share that VIPKid is also, I know that it's been well known that they've created an adult speaking course, and they had some test program where select teachers were invited to that. And then I think yesterday, or maybe this morning, someone posted an announcement that they were invited today. So I guess there's another round of teachers who were invited to obtain that certification. Well, I wasn't one of them. So I'm wondering, was it just a random thing? And I never know what VIPKid, how they choose when they do this thing. It seems like anytime they choose like a random thing like that, I've never chosen. One time I was, and it was like for something awful, like booknook or something I'm definitely not interested in. Oh no, pre-K. It was the pre-K group. I was like, nope. Mm-mm. So I don't know if it's just a random thing they do. I feel like I always miss these when they do these type of things. And so I sent them a ticket this morning, asking them, this is what I've seen, and so what qualifications am I missing, and what can I do to be invited to obtain this certification? Oh, there's a cop, so I need to put my phone lowered. Okay, the cop didn't see me. Good. And so I'll update on that next. So I would like to, I'm interested in keeping, with VIPKid, I don't want to totally delete them. I know it won't be like it was in the past where we were booked fully solid 7 days a week if we wanted. It's not going to be like that ever again. Without a magic wand, changing the Ministry of Education, Chinese government's mind on things. I did receive a message on WeChat from a parent who told me that their child can continue purchasing classes and have classes on weekends and holidays because they live outside of the mainland China. And so I was like, oh, that's great, because he's actually a good student. And if this would have been a parent of a student that I really do like, I'd have been like, well, I probably made up something. Who knows what I've done? And I'd probably said, well, I'm going to reduce my load, but I'm sure they'll find a teacher. But this is a good student. It's a good family. I know she has a younger brother. I think he's level 1, because I haven't taught him before. So maybe I'll get him soon too. I thought about recertifying level 1 again at some point, but back to that. She said that they have to show ID identification to verify where they live, so that they definitely aren't living in mainland China. So it's that serious probably. So they definitely have to show proof that they are not living in mainland China. Oh, yesterday when I had that awful nose jabbed up my nose, I ended up being negative. That's why I'm on the road right now. I wasn't going to report today to work until I heard back. So this is why it's like 11 something. I don't have classes today, by the way. I'd have already made alternate arrangements with my students. But I wanted to make sure this sinus drainage that I get every year about this time, if someone sees me sniffing or trying to clear my throat, I don't want them panicking. Oh my God, he's got COVID. Well, now I've got paper to show that it was not detected yesterday. I even did the full jab up your nose that hurts like it's tickling your brain test. And I'm going to take the spit test today for it. This campus makes, if you're not vaccinated, they require you to come weekly to do the COVID testing. So I'll do that today again, whatever. So I'll have multiple negative tests. Anyway, alrighty.